January is a great time to review your beneficiaries. You're busy and certain events may have occurred where you need to update your beneficiary. There could have been a marriage, there could have been a birth, or even an adoption, or you simply could have changed who you would like named as your beneficiary. So take a look and review your accounts, review your retirement accounts, your IRA accounts, non-qualified, those accounts held at your banking institution like your checking and savings. And also make sure you check your life insurance and make sure who you want your dollars to pass to are named on those accounts as beneficiaries. Also, we have a couple tips for you when naming beneficiaries. The first one is do not name minor children as beneficiaries. I am sure that you want your dollars to pass to your children, but if they are not 18 or 21, depending upon the state's laws, they would not be able to receive those assets. And if you didn't have the proper documentation in place, the courts would appoint a guardian to oversee their inheritance until they reach the age of 18 or 21. Once again, like I said, depending upon which state they're in. So you run the risk of someone being charged with those funds for your kids until they reach that age that maybe you didn't want to have named as a guardian. So it's important to not name minor children so they can have access to those funds right away if needed. The second thing is do not change registrations on account to joint ownerships with the person you want your money to go to. It can cause a lot of sticky situations. Number one, those assets are considered equal with that joint individual. So they can have access to that money anytime they want. They don't have to get your permission. They don't have to get you to sign anything. They can just go and take a withdrawal. The other thing is, because it's considered an equal ownership, if they are involved in a lawsuit, or maybe they run up some high medical debt, or even, unfortunately, they're involved in a divorce, those dollars will be subject to creditors, subject to lawsuits, and even the divorce court settlement. So even though it's convenient, even though it's simple, there's a better way to do it. You can name a signer on your account where if you were incapacitated for any reason, they could write out checks on your behalf and pay your bills. You could also name what's called a POD or TOD on the account. POD stands for payable on death. TOD stands for transfer on death. And it's essentially the same as naming a beneficiary. So you can set those up on your accounts at the bank. And even with your investment accounts, there's ways that you can have people named not in joint ownership, but that they would be able to have access to the account if necessary in an unfortunate situation. And lastly, we would just ask that you consider getting a trust. A trust is something we're going to talk about later in another video in much greater detail. But a trust, the most important thing you need to know about a trust is that it provides for smooth passage of your assets and your dollars to the beneficiaries that you want them to. You can be very specific about how the dollars are paid out, and if it is in a trust, then your assets avoid going through probate, being tied up in court for a long period of time. So once again, review your beneficiaries in January. Do not name minor children. Do not retitle your accounts into joint ownership, and consider getting a trust.